Now, we're going to move on to the welcome return of Stevie Richards' whiteboard, and we're going to do some analysis with the full word analysis in there as well. So, as Stevie switches cameras and microphones and the whole bit and that kind of thing, we are going to do a little look at one of the most memorable spots in professional wrestling in the last month or two, and that is the Adam Copeland, I've written Edge, Adam Copeland cage dive from, I hate to say the most recent pay-per-view because I've already forgot the name of the pay-per-view, but Stevie, over to you, take it away.
So the spot we're talking about in this episode is Adam Copeland, also known as Edge, coming off the top of the cage onto Aleister Black, onto a table. He means to splash him, and I've been, even on the second rope, it's too high for me. Adam's not on the top rope, Adam's on top of the cage. So as you're trying to splash somebody, it's almost scary to over-rotate, much like when Eddie Guerrero messed his elbow up on the frog splash. So Adam was trying to keep himself a little further back. So as he's here, what he wants to do is come down and splash Black right there. Malachi Black in AEW, Aleister Black in WWE. The problem is that he's worried that he is going to overshoot him. So now he's going to go like that, and his body's going to come down. He's going to jam his elbows, hurt his head. So he's trying to lean further back this way in order to land on his feet like this and then splash him. Unfortunately, that didn't work out that way. So we're just going to play the clip here. Thanks once again. We're going to give the person credit who supplied this fan cam video, but watch this as he comes down. And when you're up here, by the way, James, he's looking, they got a close-up of his face. If you check out AEW's YouTube channel, they have a close-up of his face. And I saw it, that look of, ooh, I'm up here. I shouldn't be doing this. This is a bad idea. But when you're on top of the cage or on the top rope, you got to go. You got to go. And unfortunately, he went. So let's play this straight through. As he comes down, you could see right there, on that right there, and we're going to pause it right when he's coming down. You can see that his body is literally like he's coming straight down. So literally straight down onto Black here. See, right there is basically straight down right there. So what we're looking at as we bring the pen up again, James, it's just all his weight is going straight down there. No matter how you land, even if you land like this and do the splash after you land on your feet, it's kind of like jumping off a bridge. They say jump feet first, but you're going to break both your legs hitting the water. It's a lot like that. So when he did that, I just got to say, like, I can't blame him for being afraid. I can't blame him for second guessing it, but I wish that he somehow, I don't even know, called the Black or told the referee to tell him to get up and like throw him off or kind of nut him onto the ropes or onto the cage right here to where he can stay up there, because it was just risk versus reward. As I said all the time on the Wrestling Analysis channel, there was way more risk involved and no reward. In other words, the only reason this was memorable was because he got hurt. If he had done the spot correctly, splashed him, Gangrel, which, by the way, Gangrel, coming out from underneath the ring, kind of glossed over this moment here and was in a way a bigger moment of a surprise return or a surprise debut. So the way it was booked made this, whether he got hurt or not, mean a lot less. So that's where I'm at right now. And it's just a shame that Adam got hurt. I wish him the best to recover and everything. He's a great talent. He's a great guy. Now I'm going to switch and you give your thoughts of what you think, James.
So while you're switching, I'm going to ask a couple of things then. So is it a classic case of overthinking? And you're in a situation that there's only one way out of it. You've got to do the move, but now you've second-guessed yourself. Because I actually took an image from the AEW pay-per-view itself, and I did a very, very unscientific, I cut Edge out, and then doubled him down. And that cage was a legitimate 12 feet high. And he's 6'5", so his eyes are another 6 feet off the cage. He's looking 18 feet down at Malachi Black there. And I think from that, it's very easy to see how you'd second guess or overthink what you're about to do. Because you said before, over rotating is it happens very rarely in dives like that, doesn't it?
It's hard to say. First of all, Adam hasn't really ever done a splash off the top of the cage that I can recall. He's done the TLC matches. There's plenty of height involved with that. But most of what Edge did, Adam, was the only spot I remember him landing anywhere close to this way, meaning not a back bump, but a front bump, is when he speared Jeff Hardy when he was holding on to where the belts are. That's different because he's coming down on his knees and his elbows. He's coming down essentially, and he's got a body that can take a lot of the fall. But still, as you get older, he's in his 50s. So I understand more than I should that you do something like that. And also in the way, when you're in your 50s and you're wrestling full time, which I don't do right now, but he does, you don't want to be handled with kid gloves. You want to be able to, it's your own ego. You want to be able to hang with the younger guys, do everything they do. You still got it, chance. This is awesome. Fight forever. All these chants that get into our ego that say, I can do this. I can do this. And it's a very, very dangerous game to play because AEW is hurt more by this spot than even Adam. Adam's got a broken tibia. I don't know the recovery time for somebody over 50 just bumping in the ring, much less breaking your tibia. It's got to be 9 months to somebody that's younger. Well, I think 9 months to a year.
I'm just looking here. It says recovery, most tibial shaft fractures take between 4 to 6 months to heal completely. Some take even longer. So it's not quite like an ACL tear, I guess. But as you say, age is definitely going to play a factor. But it's also, he's not going into high level, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, high level competitive sports where with a tibial fracture, if your leg isn't 100%, you can work around it, as is the term worker.
Yeah, but I would say this. Now, you need to be really, really careful, no matter if there's a tibia injury or not, or an Achilles injury or an ankle injury or any lower body injuries. Think about if you've ever been near the rings on an indie show or any show where the rings are very inconsistent. There's holes in the ring. And even if the ring's perfect on match 1, if Adam is match 6, there could be a hole. Someone could have bumped and broke a board. So he's running the ropes. And right there, your tibia and that part of your leg takes a lot of shearing, a lot of impact, just running the ropes, not to mention an up and over from the corner where you land on your feet, or if he even does anything, a double axe handle off the second or the top, he's got to be very careful because I think after that first break, unless he got hardware put into it, which also when you get hardware put into a part like that, now your ankle, your Achilles, your knee, your hip, your lower back has to kind of compensate or overcompensate, not to mention whichever leg he broke, the opposite one, you're naturally going to overcompensate on that. So I don't know if he's going to come back. I think he definitely will come back in some capacity, but let me back up. Adam Copeland, even though this spot, even if you wrestled once a year, you're going to break your tibia. You're going to get hurt with the way it was done. But this is the opportunity for AEW, WWE, or anybody else, touching back on the Randy Orton story. These are legends. These are special attractions. They can appear and talk, interact, build anticipation, get younger talent over. The matches have to be very much quality over quantity. If Edge or Randy Orton wrestle more than 4 or 6 times a year, I believe it's too much, and you're doing a disservice to the business because that analogy of Randy Orton needs to stick around to foster and help the younger talent. The same case up on that board is for Adam Copeland. And I'm sure, like if I was Malachi Black, I would absolutely refuse. No, dude, because you're jumping off a cage and then 2 minutes later, the big surprise of Gangrel comes up through the ring. You're immensely dangerous spot that should be its own, oh my God moment, no matter what happens, is negated by a dude who's not even signed being a surprise. Did you feel that way watching it?
Do you know, I felt something different, just as you said. Not only is Adam Copeland taking himself out of AEW, he may have just cost Gangrel a gig with AEW as well.
Once again, didn't that happen to him before didn't that happen before because Edge came out at SummerSlam to the Brood music and they were planning to debut Gangrel as a surprise?
Yeah.
And Tony Khan canceled that?
Gangrel's one of those people who always seems to, just at the last minute, it gets pulled away from him a return. I remember a story when he was going to go in, and you may know this, WWECW, that version. He was going to be part of the Vampires with Kevin Thorne and Ariel, and that got taken away at the last minute, I believe.
You want to talk about guys that are like timeless wonders? Gangrel looks the same, and Gangrel works the same as he did when I used to work him back on Heat, Metal, and on Jacked and all the stuff in the 90s in WWE when I first got there. He's one of the most intense and one of the most underrated workers and people in the business. He's really a great guy. He has a great wrestling school in South Florida. He teaches the next generation. And the only thing that I feel bad because him being on TV on a consistent basis will help his school business out. And he should have a job. So hopefully Tony Khan uses him to replace Adam in the meantime until Adam gets back.
I'm going to mention a couple of things and then we're going to get on some fan questions.
By the way, we're going to clean up the production on the whiteboard. So please be patient with us as we tighten up the format.
Oh, don't worry. We'll clean it up. You won't even see the holes in it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, that'll already be cleaned up.
Now they know.
Now they know. So there's an awkward bit. Do you think there's any thought in Adam's head when he was on top of the cage, not only just for his own safety, but maybe he was looking, as I say, his eyes are 18 feet off from the canvas, looking down at Malachi Black. Do you think there was almost him trying to take the impact out to protect Malachi?
Well, yeah, number one, whether he hits it right or not, he's protecting the other guy. That's just the kind of guy that Adam is. But when you're up there and the TV doesn't do it justice. For instance, I was in EV2 versus Fortune. It was a lethal lockdown match in Daytona Beach, Florida, Bound for Glory. And I volunteered. Nobody else volunteered. That should have been my first clue, to climb up to the top of the cage and fight with Kazarian. And I'm thinking this cage is going to be as tightly wrapped as possible. No, you saw it in the Undertaker Mankind Hell in a Cell.
The sagging, yeah.
Dude, every step was like, because then you're looking, I guess I'm 18, 20 feet as I'm standing up looking across, and I can see the box truss at eye level. And I'm sure Adam's seeing the lights. And you're like, you might as well be jumping out of an airplane. It was the most terrifying, and I'm afraid of heights. I'm also afraid of flying, which you laugh at every time I say that. Might as well be afraid of rental cars and hotel rooms at the same time. But it's terrifying. So he's trying, number one, to protect Black by not over-rotating, and then not over-rotating to blow his elbows out, to land like in the wrong way on your head. And when you come down like that, and I think Adam and I have kind of like the same kind of body composition where we're both kind of ass heavy. So if we're going to go straight here, we are going to over rotate. So we tend to kind of overcompensate the other way, which this would happen. So just close off the point with this. If the business, especially AEW, loses Adam Copeland as a talent that shows up and contributes, they're definitely going to be hurt. That's a guy you want in your locker room.
You alluded to before where you said, Gangrel comes out and then no one remembers the dive. But the fact is that really there are so many dives, and this has happened over the course of 20-odd years, that it's tough to remember any of them almost, really. And especially in AEW, because there are so many spectacular stunts. And I'm wondering here, is there a culture being fostered in AEW to get everybody to take risks out of their wheelhouse? Because I'm going to bring up an example of Sting. I mean, he was never doing dive. I mean, he was doing some crazy stuff in TNA, compared to WCW. I know he was doing stunts and stuff in WCW, but in AEW, I mean, you must have seen that dive off the ladder he did to the outside, and all he did was just smash his chin into someone else's knee. And it looked good for the interview afterwards because he was pouring blood out of his mouth. But do you think there's an AEW, a culture in AEW fostering where the just risks are being encouraged?
I think AEW does a lot of what ECW did. And I can't speak because I haven't been there to AEW, but you kind of let the talent go to a point to be creatively free and not handcuffed. But then it goes to a point where the talent are their worst enemy and need to be protected from themselves. I feel like Adam, Malachi Black, who else? Moxley when he came over, they all have chips on their shoulders with something to prove. And that's not a bad thing. But when you have something to prove, you're more than willing to do things that might not be within the character you are on TV, nor within the safety protocols that an agent in WWE would pull you aside, or even Vince, and would say, no, you're not doing that. And say all you want about Vince and all the other stuff. There are certain protections and fail safes in place to protect the wrestlers from themselves in most cases. Now, with the TKO takeover, I believe those safety protocols have been laxed. The talent has more freedom to cut promos, curse, but they also have more freedom to do out-of-pocket things like this. And I think somebody in WWE is going to get hurt, and then TKO is going to go, wait a minute, we need to kind of go back a little bit to what we had before. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.